friends, you are welcome to my video. I am Lami Emaka and I am back with another video. How has it been? How is December going? How is the holiday season going? I hope you guys are having a lot of fun with family members and friends. I know that I am. So thank you for stopping by once again, and if you're new here, please subscribe. I post beauty content on here, stuff related to makeup, hair, and all of that good stuff. I am a naturalista. But today I'm going to be doing something different. Like some events have happened and has made it necessary for me to come on here and do this video. This video is going to be like a story time about the bullying experience that I had when I was in secondary school. Secondary school in some other schools is equivalent to high school. So when I was in high school, I had a bullying encounter with a particular senior student. So I'm going to come on here and share my experience with you guys. What is my take on bullying and what I think should be our next move as regards boarding school. So I actually filmed this video before. I talked about this issue. Then I did not upload. I felt since I was talking about something negative that someone did so many years ago, it would be like I'm painting this person in bad light. So I felt a certain type of way. So I did not upload the video. But then some weeks ago, I woke up to, I think this thing happened in November. I woke up to the news of Sylvester in Dowen College that was bullied by senior students, and unfortunately, he died from the encounter. So I just felt I need to come up here and lend my own voice to the issue because bullying happens everywhere in the world. It happens everywhere in the world. So I felt I should come on here and share my encounter with you guys. So I'm going to get right into it without any further ado. So when I was in JSS3, I decided I want to move to the hostel because that's boarding school. Because when my secondary school, actually there were two options. You could either be a day student or be a boarding house student. So I was a day student for my JSS1, but in JSS3 I felt I should go to boarding school because in my mind I just felt I'll be with my peers, so it would just be school, me and my books. I wouldn't have to run much errands. I would just, focus on my studies. And JSS3 and SS3 are very, very crucial periods for secondary school students because that's when we'll be writing our professional external examinations. So the JSS3 exam we'll be writing we usually write then, or that JSS3 students write, is usually the junior WAEC, which will usher them into the senior secondary school. In some institutions, in some setups, it's even your grade in the junior WAEC will determine whether you'll be a science or an art student or a social science student in your SS class. So this was a very crucial time for me. I was preparing for this exam. So I said, let me go to the hostel. So I talked to my mom about it and she was cool with it, and we made preparations, and boom, I was in the hostel. Then my sister that was in JSS1 at the time followed me to the hostel, and unfortunately we were in the same hostel because the hostel had different houses. So we were in the same house. We're not really in the same room, but we were in the same house, so we could see and talk every day. But I got into the hostel, and man, those thoughts that I have of how I focus on my studies did not turn out that way at all. I went into the hostel and the errands were insane. Like, I would come back from class, I will be running errands up until it's time for another activity. I'll come back, the remaining 15 minutes I'll have to put myself together. Another senior student will send me on another errand. Like, I cannot just come back to the hostel and say, okay, let me just take my uniform, my houseware, maybe wash it in the next 5, 10 to 15, 30 minutes and go and read my books or go and sleep or something. The senior student will dump her clothes on me. That's how I'll be at the tap, washing clothes. And usually in the hostel, every like we had a routine. So every hour was allocated to a particular activity. So if we come back from school by 2, you have your lunch by 2:15. You're supposed to observe your siesta at 3 p.m. I understand. Then maybe from 3 to 4, you're supposed to do prep. Then from 4 to 5, you're supposed to do from 5 to 4 to 5, you're supposed to do maybe games. And all these activities had different prefects. So if you are late to any of these activities, the prefect in charge would have the right to punish you or beat you. And prefects were just senior students that were that were in charge of a particular activity. Like we had the dining hall prefect, she supervised everything that had to do with the dining hall. We had the labor captain, that one supervised the tasks that we carried out, like cleaning our hostels, cleaning outside the classrooms and all of that. So we had these different prefects. So because of all these errands, sometimes I'll find myself being late to all these activities. So I'll just be encountering beating, trashing, spankings, back to back, continuously throughout the whole day. It was insane, man. It was terrible. I knew some junior students who would stay in class right from after school is over. They will remain in class. They won't come back to the hostel because of errands. They will just sit there in class and be gisting, reading, doing one or two things, just keeping themselves busy. Then they'll come back to the hostel in the night because of these errands. Then and I encountered the senior. We're going to call her Senior Tina. So Senior Tina was mean. She was mean to everyone. Like she was just a bad woman, or a bad girl at that time. So she just decided to pick on me because the way it goes, there's seniority, there's a way you conduct your affairs. Like if you want to send someone on an errand, you send the youngest. So we had just as one student in the room, we had just as two students in the room. I was in just as three. Tina will not send just as one or just as two students. She will move over and send me. And she was never satisfied with anything I did for her. So there were like for example, there was this day she sent me to buy bread for her in the morning. So like I knew we would be rushing to go to class very soon. So like I just literally walked to the store, bought the bread and came back. But lo and behold, as soon as I came back, she saw me. She started raising her voice, shouting, insulting me, verbally abusing me, that she sent me since early in the morning to buy this bread for her, and I'm just coming back now. She was just shouting, she was just shouting. Then one day she called me to her corner, she gave me her books, I should take it to her class. I took it to her class, no problem, no wahala. Then when it was closing time, we usually close school around 2. From her class, she could see me through a window. So she called me, I came to her class, she gave me her books. I should take it to her to the hostel. I did that. I ran all her errands. I never complained. So that she begins to put her hands on me. I didn't tell no one. Okay, I had a friend that I was confiding in. A friend that would let her, tell me how to go about this whole issue. So one day she called me in the morning. She was like, let me tell you something. Like, don't you ever wait for me to call you in the morning. You just come to my corner, you collect my books, and then you take them to class. And then when it's 2 o'clock, don't wait for me to call you. Just come to my room, my classroom, and collect my books and bring them back to the hostel. If you allow me to call you, you know what's going to happen. So this whole thing got me thinking. I like went to that my friend. I was like, look at what Sinotina has said to me today. That I should come and be collecting. Like she wants to turn me to her house help. So my friend now encouraged me to report her to our senior body house mistress. So because I knew that if I did not put a stop to this was going to escalate into something. Like she was going to make me her minion or something. In fact, she had already made me her minion as far as I was concerned. So I went to the senior body house mistress, a very, very motherly, friendly woman, and she was like, she called the senior. She was angry. I didn't even want to go because I felt I didn't have a case. Since she didn't really, like inflict pain on me, like injure me physically. Though she used to put her hands on me once in a while, but she never left an injury because we had bad cases. And look back, whatsoever we were experiencing in the girls' hostel was nothing compared to what the boys were encountering. There was what they call general trashing. A prefect would just wake up. He would just start trashing. He would just start spanking students like, You wouldn't need to commit any offense. Your offense was being in the hostel, coming to school to study your books. That was your offense, and they would just descend on you. There was something they called SP speech. So the head prefect will make a speech, and when they make that speech, all the students have to stay put. Like you sneeze, your pounce, they'll pounce on you. You cough, you move your head to the side, they will descend on you. They will injure students, like students will end up in the sick bay after SP speech. So it was terrible. Anyway, so I went and reported her. The body health specialist cautioned her, and that was the end of that bullying encounter. She stopped, disturbing me and all of that. And I made it through school. I made it through that session, but my grades were not good. They were just average. My grades were not nice at all. And I went back home. That now we're to resume SS1, right? So my mom was like, no, 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 I'm not going back to the hostel. I pleaded with her, like, I really wanted to be in the hostel. And then she said no, that she doesn't want it anymore. So I couldn't argue any further. So I just accepted my fate and I became a day student again. And with my friends, because my friend was actually a day student. So one day I was chilling with with my friend, and then one girl walked up to us. My seat was by the window. So she was like, Lami, like, you're Lami, right? Please, I hope you're not planning to come back to the hostel. I was like, what? Why? What's up? And then she was like, I heard some seniors talking, and they were like, that Lami that reported Senior Tina to Senior Body House Specialist. By the time she comes back to this hostel, we are going to deal with her. So the lady was seriously pleading with me not to come back with the hostel so that they don't make my life a living hell. Because when all of that happened, when I reported Senior Tina, she was in SS2. So now we had moved a year ahead, so she was now an accessory student, a final year student. So it was now, time for her to deal with me and deal with whoever she wanted to deal with. So thankfully, my mom was like, I'm not going back to the hostel. So it was like that. It remained that way. I didn't go back to the hostel, and that was the end of it. Or so I thought. So this Tina had an encounter with my younger sister. And when it happened, my sister didn't even tell me about it. It was a while after that I was hearing about it. And I was like, what? What happened was, I told you when I was in the hostel, my sister too came GSS1. So she was new to the hostel, she was new to the system, she didn't know how things happened around there. So Tina told her to get her food for her from dining hall, because back then the senior students, they wanted to eat the dining hall food though, but they didn't want the boys to see them with their plates going to dining hall to collect food. Childishness. So they would send junior students to collect food for them. So my sister took her plate to the dining hall. So because she was new to the system, she didn't know she was to go and collect the food. So she thought they would call out, Senior Tina's food, and she would go and collect the food. Oh boy. That's why she was sitting out there till dining hall was over. Then she went forward and they told her, no, food has finished. Hey, my sister came back to the hostel. Senior Tina was asleep. So when Senior Tina now woke up, I'm sure she woke up with hunger. You know that hunger you wake up from sleep with. She woke up with hunger. She called my sister, where's my food now? My sister was now started telling her the story. She was like, you're telling me story. Go and kneel down in my corner. When she now had my sister's time, she came over. She started hitting my sister. She would slap her, hit her on the back, slap her, hit her on the back. That's how she continued. And of course, the verbal abuse as well, So when I found out about it, I was hurt. Like, I was really, really pissed off. So that was like one of the experiences I encountered. I don't want to go into too much detail because there are so many terrible things that happen to so many students in that school that I wouldn't want to narrate here. But I just want to let you know that bullying is real. Bullying happens, especially in the boarding schools. It happens. And if you're watching this video, you were in school, and back then in school there was bullying. Like, just try to find out from students that are still going to that school, or maybe from your alumni group, or I don't know how you do it. Just try to find out if bullying is still going on, and if that's the case, try to lend your voice, try to talk about it, try to, maybe if it means going to see the principal to talk, to complain, just do something. I'm going to try what I can do on my end. In fact, right now, what I'm advocating for, boarding house should be cancelled, because we can't handle bullying. We cannot curtail it. Look at what happened in Dowen College. I remember I was watching a Zoom meeting that some parents had with one guidance and counselor. He was a former guidance counselor in Doen, but he said he had to leave because the students were not monitored. Like bad things would be happening, but by the time an adult goes to see what's happening, the senior students will change the story, and that's the case in other schools. A junior student reports a senior student to the school authorities, the senior student is punished, but you will still go back to that same hostel with that senior. The principal will not come to the hostel to sleep with you to sleep in the hostel with you. It is still you still go back to the same room with that same senior student, so they will still deal with you. So reporting is not solving the problem. I don't know. So I think since we can't handle it, let's just cancel boarding schools because Sylvester is just one case. I remember what happened in one school beginning of last year. It was trending. This woman talked about how her son was, assaulted. His was like his was just very terrible. They were tampering with his anus and all of that. Like it was just messy, it was dirty, it was disgusting. So we need like if we need to do something about this right now, we need to speak because more students will die if nothing is done about this. Like more students are going to die if nothing is done about this situation. So that's just my 2 cents about the whole issue. That's just what I think. I believe we should speak up. We should do something about it. Schools need to be safe. You hear students crying when they are returning back to school. They don't want to go back to school because a particular senior is harassing them. We've even had cases of sexual harassment in these so-called boarding schools. So this is what I have to say. Like if you are a senior student and you feel you are just because you are a senior student you can beat, you can maltreat a junior student, you feel like you are better than someone, like that is superiority complex that I don't even know how to describe. That is something that means you really really need help. If you bully seniors, if you bully junior students when you were in secondary school, as in, well, the past is gone, you are forgiven. But when you come across that junior student that you bullied, don't be all nice and friendly and feel like, why is she beefing me? It was a lifetime ago now. We were kids. Like, you were insane. You were insane. So don't see someone you bullied and then just, start trying to act all nice and friendly like nothing ever happened. Do the right thing. Apologize. So bullying has to stop. Bullying really really has to stop. We need to put an end to it. Our children need to go to school happy. They need to become better human beings. They don't need to be afraid. They don't need to dread the schooling experience. They should focus on their studies. So this is what I think about bullying, and that was my bullying encounter. Just let me know in the comment section like what you went through in school, if you bullied someone, if you were bullied, like what is your take on the whole issue. Let's get the conversation rolling. So thank you for sticking with me till the end, and if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. I would really love to have you join this team. So thank you for watching. I love you. Goodbye.